Namaste, everybody. Welcome. Thank you again for pressing play. Thank you for all your likes and your shares and your lovely messages. They are very, very lovely. Bless you. Thank you very, very much. Well, I cannot speak for you, obviously. I can only speak for myself. But what an amazingly fantastical week I had. The weather was amazing. That always helps. But just the looking out into the world from my window, yes, that's where we're all now. Your window is your perspective. Your window, yes, your circle. Looking out into my circle and looking at all the people in my circle and just being in awe and in marvel of the way that they're just embracing the new normal and they are looking to put their best foot forward. They're looking for creative ways of being the star player in their life. Yes, not just having to be channeled, conformed, conditioned into someone else's lane, choosing your own lane, being guided by our Father, by the Holy Spirit to choose your own lane and walk boldly in it. So I've been watching them from my window. And I've been very proud of them. Personally, I've had a most amazing week. Just so many wonderful doors opening and opportunities coming my way. And I'm so thankful, Father, in this time of great darkness that you continue to shine your light on your children. Yes, we're all children of God. Absolutely. But some of our brothers and sisters have become possessed with lies. It's not actually their fault. They were conditioned this way in a system that is not our friend. Okay, so whilst we have compassion, the truth is returning. Yes, the Christians call it the return of the Christ. Other religions call it the return of the Messiah. They're waiting for one man. But when we consider that God is not a man, God also doesn't speak English, French, German, Swahili. God doesn't speak language like we speak. This language of God is light and sound and vibration. I was thinking about cells. Yes, I'm sure many of us are thinking about cells. Cells in your body, little cells. Each one of your cells, I mean, obviously the building blocks of life are far more microscopic than that, but let's just work with cells once we get to the mechanism of the cell with your nucleus, yes? Each cell has its own intelligence or its own consciousness, yeah? Think about it. How many cells make up your body? Millions and millions, and they just keep getting made and made and made and made, and they reproduce. Cells get reproduced. If you damage your skin, you cut yourself. I had to give myself minor surgery this week. That was interesting. I got a really large splinter in my finger, so I had to take a needle and with my left hand poke myself until I was bleeding. So psychologically, that's very interesting to have to know that you, because if someone else is doing it for you, you can look away, you can distract yourself, you know. But if you're doing it yourself, you have to be paying attention to what you're doing. And you are in the moment giving yourself very minor surgery, obviously, but still that anticipation of that needle going in and then it wouldn't come out. It was like it was resistant, it refused. But I beat it eventually, and a little bit of essential oil never goes amiss. So you cut your skin. Your body is intelligent enough to start immediately, besides fighting the infection, recreating those cells to cover that gap. But now the thing is, how come some cells decide they're going to be skin cells? Some cells decide they're going to be part of a greater community, yes? Well, your skin is the largest organ in your body, so yes, it is a greater community. But let's take a blood cell. It's in the community of the blood, but it's kind of going along on its own, isn't it? But then you'll take your liver, or your kidney, or your heart, or your lungs. These are cells that form to be in the cluster of the lungs, that make up the lungs. These are cells with that kind of consciousness. I'm going to be a lung cell. Yes, I'm going to join this community, and we are going to help and bring this individual the breath of life. How amazing is that? Yes. So from the smallest part of you, your cells, they have their own intelligence, their consciousness, and you are a collection of consciousness. From the tiniest part of you till the greatest part of you. Yes. Aren't you amazing? Sometimes I do a pre-shuffle before, and the cards that came out were fear and joy. I was like, okay, that's going to make it quite a fine title. So we've made a note of it because I might forget by the end of it. Fear and joy. I think that is our choice going forward in the totalitarianism of the new world. Another thing I want to cover before we go, and we've got 2 pages, so I'm going to try to get through it quite as quickly as I can. Fear and joy is a choice. They're not opposite, so to speak, but fear is the destroyer of everything. Fear is what feeds the lie. We're all children of God, but some of our brothers and sisters have become possessed, which is what that means essentially, is they resonate or radiate with a very high level of fear frequency. They are afraid, yes. So because they are afraid, you can fill their heads with nonsense because of their fear. So one of the most amazing things about knowing yourself is you lose the fear. As the fear goes, and if you have to realize you've been infected with these poisons of fear, of lack of motivation, of lack of vision, all these things that you feel that you lack in order to progress your life. You know what? There are poisons that have been put into your mind. So it's taken a long time to poison you. So it's going to take more than a one meditation or one reading or one hello, how are you, to get the poison out. So you have to be patient with yourself. Okay, now we're going into the growing season, so everything's going to seem really busy. I know we've got 2 pages. That's a lot of stuff going on. So it's the growing season. Now, normally we would be distracted with everything that's going on in the world. It's summer, so it's holiday time, it's festival time, it's get your body right time, it's do your new hobby, it's out and about time, yes? But now, no. All those distractions have been removed and you're left with you, yourself, and I. So, let's be your own best friend. Okay, so it's the growing season. So what happens in the growing season is we have an opportunity to have the external show to us what we need to focus on inside. Later on in the year, we are from the inside more looking out and working on the inside from the inside out, as opposed to now we are looking from the outside in. I hope that makes sense to you. Excuse me. So normally we'd be hustling and bustling and getting on with our lives. So that energy is still with us. Yes, we still feel like we need to be moving and progressing and growing and expanding our life and expanding our business and blah, 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 blah. But of course now, for most of us, no, not this year. So you can take it as a blessing or you could take it as a hardship. Up to you. We live in a system that has been plagued with a disease called duality, opposites. The truth is, we're all one in reality. Now, in order to get us to see as one collective, we have to remove certain things. Now, everyone is affected on a personal level. The woohoo, and if you're new to this channel, the woohoo is the virus. We call it the woohoo for many reasons. The woohoo has given us some positive things. It's taken our collective consciousness from purely the personal to the collective or the global. Okay, so things affect you on a personal level. The things that affect you on a personal level, your job, your work, your family, your friends, your home, you know, that affects you on your personal. That's personal. Okay. Then you'll have things that affect you in your community. That could be your churches, it could be your city. That's your community, your communal. Okay. Then you will have things that affect you on a national level. That's things that happen within your country. Then you will have things that affect you on a global level. So this is things that are happening in the greater world. Now, it seems that the greater global consciousness is being made very, very, very clear to you, because this is the thing. Your contribution to the global makes a big difference. We should have dealt with that in the Sagittarius season. So we've removed a lot of the things that affect you personally, a lot of the things that affect you in your community, and even nationally, but there is now a global situation which now affects all of those things, right down to the personal. So it's suddenly you're looking beyond your personal situation. Yes, all over the world. Because the same thing that's happening to you personally is happening to your neighbor, it's happening to someone down the road, it's happening to the person from your office, it's happening to everyone in your country, it's happening to everybody in the world. So it's an amazing opportunity to get us to see how the collective affects us personally. Because now a lot of us are looking at things a little differently, aren't we? We're looking at the media a little bit differently. We're looking at the way things are run. We're looking at those people that are running things. The main thing we're looking for is, are you a truth teller? Do you tell the truth? And are you a hypocrite? You see, this is the two fundamental things we will be dealing with over the next few months. Are you a hypocrite? Do you say one thing and do another? Because that's lying, in a way. Lying to yourself, mainly. And also you have to appreciate, if people are just born sprouting lies, then they are lying to themselves. Given over. Completely deceived. So deceived that they're deceiving themselves. How stupid. No more. Yes, it is a new world. It is a new world out there. So, some of the things we speak about are happening in the collective. Okay, just so that you remember that. But it affects you on a personal level. So, some of the things we mentioned might not be happening to you exactly, but you're seeing it around you through your window. And you'll definitely be seeing it in the greater collective. Now, some of the elements that Some of the aspects that we talk about today are longer aspects, some are shorter aspects, but as we go through them, we'll explain it as we go. Okay, so today's Sunday. I'm recording this video on Sunday morning-ish. Sunday the 10th. Saturn, karma, and the Christ consciousness. If you do not want to get sucked into karma, you have to cleave to the Christ consciousness, which is different to the Christian explanation of the Jesus from the book. Saturn turns retrograde in Aquarius / Capricorn. So it's going into one and then backtracks. So it moves back and forward. And it's been doing that a little bit over the past few months. So it goes retrograde in Aquarius / Capricorn. It goes through both of those over the period until the 28th of September. Interesting. 28th of September brings us into Libra season. So Libra, think about the symbol, scales of justice. Yes, balance, justice. So this is telling me already that this aspect is karmic. What you do relative to what I'm about to speak about either keeps you on the hamster wheel, the karmic wheel, or gets you off, okay? It's the I'm in the world but not part of the world, or you know what, I'm just a sheeple, not people, sheeple. All right, being herded because I don't know myself and I've chosen to delude myself and not create a heaven on earth for myself whilst the opportunity is there. This retrograde asks us to reflect what rules and structures we need to accept or let go of in order to simplify our lives. It's a time when we need to become aware of the consequences of our choices and the consequences those choices have on our lives and on the lives of others. While Saturn is in Aquarius until the 1st of July, it's time to reflect on how our choices and actions affect others in the wider community, collectively, yes, for good or for ill, and to take the responsibility for them in order to grow and mature. You're not perfect, okay? If you believe you are, go back to the beginning. It's not about being perfect, it's about growing. Life is a journey, it's not a destination. It's about growing. If you're with people that do not give you that fertile ground in order to grow, you need to check your people. When Saturn backtracks into Capricorn on the 1st of July, the focus of reflection and growth shifts to our willingness to take responsibility for our own personal lives. Yes, the amount of freedom that you have is directly proportionate to the amount of responsibility you take for yourself. And this is responsibility for the most fundamental thing is how I think. If you're telling me that there's something else in you making the thoughts for you, you need to think about that statement. It means you must be possessed, seriously. Accepting the consequences, yes. Accept the consequences of what happens when we are not honest in thought, words, and actions, and learning from them. This allows us to restore our integrity so that we live in alignment with natural laws. Another great benefit from the woohoo is no longer is time tick, 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 relative to the second and the minute and the hour. It's relative now to the day, okay? We can get you going from day to day. We can eventually get you going moment to moment. If we can get you to go with the natural cycle back as a reflection of the way things used to be, the natural cycle, then you will not be enslaved to the cycle of time that draws you away from your true self and draws you into a system where you're just selling your time and your energy for tradable currency whilst you worship these people who got there before you. You see? Because while you're focusing on something else, you're not focusing on yourself. And you'll get to middle age and go, I gave it to everyone. Where's my bit? Well, you know what? You didn't look after, number one, yourself. Because you are important. And speaking specifically to the ladies, you are the mothers and the grandmothers of future generations. What future generations are we to have after this woohoo? That is how important you are. This is your opportunity to get to know yourself on that fundamental level. Get back into the natural cycle of things. Out of the, as they say, rat race. Off the hamster wheel. Enslaved to a system of debt. You die, you leave your debt for your family. No more are people leaving legacy for their family. They now leave legacies of debt. They calculated 3-4 generations ago, your great-great-grandparents, you're still paying debts through taxes for their perceived ills, for their existence. But it's a new world now. You choose. I'm either in the world, enslaved to the world, or I'm in the world, walking with my Father and my Mother, creating my heaven on earth. Sun sextile Neptune, an opportunity to transform our sense of self-identity through letting go of who we think we are, based on our ego, your conditioning in other words, and your pain and your sorrows, and embracing our true spiritual nature. That's who you really are. But you needed to take the beatings and the stabbings and the crucifixions for you to realize, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm bigger than all of this palaver. It all boils down to, do you perceive that you are a pilgrim passing through? A spiritual being having a human experience? Yes, you are so fortunate to be born and pilgriming in this lifetime now when the revelation of the truth is coming. Yes, the book of Revelation. Terrifying book. Terrifying. But if you can decode it a little bit, you realize it's most marvelous. You, me, and everyone around us, we are the revelation. We are the book of Revelation walking on legs. What is the book of Revelation walking on legs? It is the manifestation of the truth. You are a manifestation of the truth. If you decide to cast out the lie from within you, within your mind. Yes, what lies? All the lies that you've been fed your whole life. What an amazing time to be alive. Also today, Sunday, the 10th, Mercury trine Jupiter, an opportunity to open and expand the limits of the rational mind, the thinking mind, to move beyond narrow-minded judgment and viewing things as separate or seeing the bigger picture, what we spoke about right in the beginning, because that is what unites everything together. Everything. If we see ourselves as souls, spirits, souls journeying, having a life, a human experience, experiencing the human condition, because as a spirit, as a soul, you are there, which is great for some. It's euphoria, isn't it? Being in the presence of God, let's say. Being in the presence of love, in the presence of acceptance, love, unconditionally, just being in that energy. If you've ever received unconditional love from someone, you will know what it feels like. And having that experience on earth, right here, right now, in this time of chaos and madness. Being able to have that connection, that peace, being in that heaven, being one with God, here in the flesh. Because straight afterwards, you can go and have an apple. You know, you don't eat apples when you're in the spirit world. There's no eating of apples. There's remembering eating of apples. There's no physically feeling the intensity of a hug. So many people have said to me, I'm just longing for a hug. A simple thing, like a hug. How many times we took that for granted. I'm not really a hugger. If I hug you, it's because I'm giving you healing. I'm not really a hugger. People are longing for that. Just a simple thing. All of that distraction taken away and bringing us to the simple things in life. To hug your child, your grandchild. To hug your child who maybe lives somewhere else. To hug your brothers and sisters, your friends. Maybe you don't live with your partner. Maybe they live somewhere else. You know, to hug them. Just the simple things, you know. Standing, cooking a meal together. Mercury trine Jupiter, seeing the bigger picture. Jupiter for me is the Messiah planet. Mercury is a messenger. Also the trickster, can be, you know. So the messages might be tricky. You know, we might be getting mixed messages around about now. It's about discerning the spirit of things. Not just taking everything you hear as a truth. Think to yourself, does that make sense? Does it make logical sense? If not, go and do some research. Although the truth is in you, you have to search for it because we live in a world of deception. You see, that's the trick. So, an opportunity to open and expand the limits of the rational mind to move beyond narrow-minded judgment and viewing things as separate. And to see the bigger picture that unites everything together and applying this understanding in both our daily lives, in how we speak to one another. This leads to greater love and kindness in our thoughts, words, and actions. Monday the 11th, Mercury square Mars. Whew. A challenge. You just know that's a challenge. A challenge to overcome any tendencies to act impulsively on our desires without thinking it through first, like impulse buying. Everyone's going to be doing it this week. You know what I mean? Why buy a hot tub if you can't get it through the door? Did you think about that? Did you think about taking the measurement? Impulse. Giving in to the impulse and later regretting it. Overthinking things. We can have a tendency to overthink things this week, especially if you are deep thinkers. Scorpio people, chill. So we can overthink things, be impulsive, and then fail to take action. So this is what we call a cluster problem. You know, it's one small problem, like a cluster bomb. Do we all know what a cluster bomb is? No? Okay, so it's a whole lot of bombs tied together. So one goes off, okay, boom, then that sets the next one off. Boom, 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 boom. Cluster bomb. Yes. So you can get cluster mess ups. I have another term. I have another word I use after cluster, but I won't use it here. So a cluster or a potential for a series of very unfortunate events. Do not wreck yourself. Okay. These can be overcome through developing the mental discipline to focus our thoughts, to see the situation more clearly, leading to better judgment in our actions and words, so that our thoughts, our words, and our deeds work together as one. Don't be a hypocrite. Don't be saying one thing and then doing another. We saw some of that in the press, didn't we? Didn't we? Yes. Someone saying, do this, do this, do this, and then they went and did something. Well, they did the opposite, didn't they? And they got caught. There's going to be a lot of that. Okay, so if you want truth, you need to live your truth. So if you're going to say something, I'm going to take this course of action, then you better take that course of action. Because if you don't, people might not say anything. But believe you me, they're not really going to tolerate that level of disregard anymore. Okay, no more. It's not happening anymore. Taking responsibility for our actions or lack of actions. You see, not taking an action is sometimes as bad as taking the wrong action. Also on Monday the 11th, Mercury enters Gemini until the 28th of May. So a longer aspect, okay? The Saturn retrograde, of course, a longer aspect up until September. Okay, so Mercury entered Gemini until 28th of May, a longer aspect. An opportunity to expand the limits of our perceptions. What's our perceptions? That's your circle, darlings. Okay, that's where we want to go there. There you go, there you go. Let's take it there. Yep, let's take it there. Oh, let me bring it in the shot. Ooh, let's take it there. An opportunity to expand the limits of our perceptions through embracing new ideas and experiences. Yes, well, if you're cloistered at home, there's not much new experiences that you're going to experience other than ones you go and search for within your environment in here. All right, also, there will be a tendency to question your own beliefs and assumptions. The ones, especially the ones that are holding you back. Now, I'll give you one with no offense to anybody, but I can guarantee you no husband ever died because their wife washed their hair on a Tuesday. Now, some people that belong to certain religious beliefs will understand exactly what I've just said. Okay, there is a belief in certain religions and cultures that if you wash your hair on a Tuesday, your husband or perhaps your brothers may die. So no woman that belong to this community, which is huge, wash their hair on a Tuesday. Ask yourself. Now, I know for a fact some of them through the years did wash their hair on a Tuesday. And guess what? Neither daddy nor any of the brothers copped it. Okay, these are the kind of things, the limiting beliefs that you've been indoctrinated with that we can have an opportunity to shift. Isn't it marvelous? All right, but you have to take and have the courage to take the opportunity to experience it. Yes? So, questioning our own beliefs and our assumptions that could be holding us back, and seeking to open our eyes to new ways of looking at situations. I'm telling you, all of them governments and them Huge corporations looking for other ways to operate. Absolutely other ways to operate. So you be smart enough to go and find your way of operating. It is also an opportunity to become more conscious of how we communicate with each other. Yes, conscious communication. Aiming to keep our speech as truthful and as kind as possible, and to be open to other people's truths without blindly accepting or dismissing them. In other words, listen to hear. Most people listen to formulate a response. You see, as someone's talking, you already go, I don't like that. And you already got your arsenal. I've got my arsenal. Just let me get. Sometimes you get you're so energized with your response, you can't even let the person finish. You're straight in there. Boom, 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 boom. We've all been guilty of this. Okay, so let's try to listen to hear, not just listen in order to formulate a response. Tuesday the 12th. Venus turns retrograde in Gemini until the 24th of June. A long aspect. A time to go within and reflect on how the relationships we have with ourselves affect the quality of relationships we have with others. It's a time to connect with the heart space and be honest with ourselves about our ability to give and receive love, and recognize how this is reflected in our relationships through the imbalances that will be highlighted within your relationships going forward in a way that you cannot ignore. Okay, so all of those folks that are in codependent, dysfunctional, narcissistic, empathic relationships and are cloistered together are about to have some very interesting times. Okay, but this is all there to bring you to the knowledge of the understanding that you are not someone's doormat. If they are not able to accept your love, then boy, bye. Bye. You are more valuable than that. Ladies, please. You create life in your belly. The contribution is a sperm cell. Only one. How many millions have to be sent? One that makes it. One. Sometimes two. One. And then you take over. And life forms in you. Anything you touch. One young lady said to me off of last week's video, not all women are like that. Yes, not all women are like that. But Magdalene women are like that. Mostly, you have to start loving yourself. You are important. But if you do not decide that you are important, no one else is going to give you that energy. You always have to remember, when you're with someone who is weak, they have to make you not matter so that they matter. I can't go and help you wash the dishes because then it looks like I care. You matter. No, I'm rather going to sit here and moan my fate while you've done 18 hours and come home and cooked the dinner and cleaned up. And you're bringing in the more money out of the pay area. Okay. All right. So wakey, ladies. I'm sorry I'm getting a bit tough, but feminine energy is rising very strongly. And I'm doing my best to be balanced in this. So if you are in those dysfunctional, codependent, narcissistic / empathic situations, well, from now until June 24th-ish, it's not a direct straight line, it's going to get a bit hairy. It's also a time when the exes try to return to siphon off energy, okay? So use your discernment, ladies. It's a time to reflect on whether the values we live by truly reflect who we are, or whether they are conditioned from a lack of self-love. Mercury trine Saturn retrograde also, Tuesday the 12th, an opportunity to cultivate mental discipline and stillness through getting rid of any mental distractions and unnecessary thinking patterns, so that our thinking becomes clear and organized. This enables us to develop the concentration and focus required to take an idea and turn it into physical reality. If you are having a problem trying to figure out how you're going to create your heaven on earth within a dying system, spend some time with our Father. Just be still. Breathe. We have some meditations, guided meditations to help you keep the thinking mind quiet. But if you do not take that action and take the steps as the doors open, it's all about timing. But not tick, 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 second timing, divine timing. You need to be at the right place at the right time. Normally, a fruit tree will cost you, a decent one, about £25. I managed to get 5 fruit trees for £25. You know why? Because I was in the right place at the right time. This is what I mean when doors open for you. It takes effort. It takes effort on your part. If you are a child of God, you are the physical manifestation of the divine consciousness. Yes? So, if you need God to help you, you need to be the eyes, the ears, the hands, the feet, and the mouth to help yourself. In all my 48 years, I have never seen a leprechaun walk up to my front door and leave a pot of gold. But all my needs have always been met and surpassed. Wednesday the 13th, Mars enters Pisces until 28th of June. Long aspect, an opportunity to focus our actions and desires on our spiritual practices to help us stay grounded, tame the ego, and become more kind, compassionate, and empathetic in how we approach situations and people. It's also an opportunity to learn, to allow our intuition to show us when to take action so that we go with the divine flow, divine timing, to achieve our goals rather than fighting against fighting against the current, because that causes you to burn out. Do you know what I mean? It's about working smart, not necessarily hard. Thursday 14th, Jupiter turns retrograde in Capricorn until 12th September, long aspect. This is a time to turn inwards and reflect on whether the vision or projects we are working on accurately resonate with who we really are, or are we being pursued, or are we pursuing these things as a means of social approval? Oh, well, I come from a family of doctors, so I have to be a doctor, so I go and learn to be a doctor, and I absolutely hate it. Blood freaks me out, so now I'm having panic attacks. See, being a doctor is not for you, darling. Okay, so stand up to daddy, stand up to your brothers, stand up to whoever you need to stand up to. God will help you. Call your angels and make decisions for yourself. This is also a time where the ego is deflated somewhat to allow us to connect with the wisdom and conscience of the soul within. To be honest with ourselves as to whether we stay true to our moral compass and personal ethics, or we suppress them in order to fit in out of fear or social rejection. Friday the 15th, Sun trine Pluto retrograde. An opportunity to transform our sense of self-identity through bringing the light of awareness and truth into the depths of our shadow, your mind, your drama, what you've done, what others have done to you, your pain, your conditioning, everything. Everything is now a free game under the spotlight. It's like everything inside of you is about to be laid bare on the outside of you for you to check yourself. An opportunity to transform our sense of self-identity through bringing the light of awareness and truth into the depths of our shadow to reveal old outworld fears, attachments, obsessions, and control issues, and learning to let go of them. So if you're encloistered with some dysfunctional, possessed human being, possessed by lies of their own self-importance and control and la, 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 of course, they're going to be flaring up with us right now. This is what I'm trying to tell you. The very worst of people is about to be made manifest. The hypocrisy, it's all about to be made manifest. Okay? Not maybe in your little cloistered environment of your little social bubble, but in the look, just watch what happens in the big wide world. Because Tom, we have to let these things go. These things are controlling you. These are like demons that control you. Come on, you're a free child of God. Going on to perfection. You're not perfect, you're going on to perfection. In the process, we transform and renew our minds, because that is how we become free. And this will allow us to live in the present moment and embody our true self. You see, in the present moment basically means you're not worried about what happened yesterday, and you're definitely not fantasizing about tomorrow. You're here today. Okay, so today I need to go and plant some seeds, because tomorrow I need those seeds to be going through the germination process, so that next week those seeds will hopefully be strong enough to go and plant out in some land, so that in a few months' time I can then return and I can harvest, so that I can feed my family through the winter. But if I don't focus today on doing these seeds, all of that for the future is irrelevant. If I sit today and say, well, the last time I planted those seeds, it was an absolute disaster. They all died. So I don't know. Should I do it this way? Should I do it that way? So you don't take any action. Fear of what happened in the past is stopping you from moving forward. The present moment, that's what it means. You're not sitting thinking, oh, you know, these people have done this to me, or this happened to me, or this has happened, or this has happened. No, that's in the past. It's history. If it's affecting you now, it is a disease. It is diseasing you. It is a poison. Because what you're doing is, that's just what you're doing in this now moment. You're thinking about the past. So you are bringing the past into this now moment, because your now moment is where you create tomorrow. So basically you're bringing that pain into your now moment so that you can walk into tomorrow with it, whilst all the time you're telling everyone how horrible it is and how you just want to move free from this horribleness. But you literally are hauling the trash day by day into your front room. Friday the 15th, Mercury sextile Chiron. Chiron is your childhood wound, your traumas, your conditioning, where it all went a bit doolally. An opportunity to develop a conscious understanding of how the wound to the sense of self-identity affects how we think, because how you think determines everything. What you think is what will happen. How the wound to the sense of self-identity affects how we think about ourselves, and how our choices of words after the phrase I am have the power to heal or destroy us. I am. Very powerful words. Why? Because God, as it is written, when he spoke clearly to Abraham and said, well, who is this God? What shall I say is your name? I am that I am. Therefore, if you are a child of God and you utter the words I am, power. After that, everything conspires to bring that to you. So, if you're feeling low and down, then say to yourself, I am free. Go on. There you go. All right. You take some water. This was always going to be a long one. I mean, 2 full pages. Whew. That's a lot. All right, let's have some cards. I had to move, so this cord is now wedged. Not anymore. It landed face down, but it flipped up a little bit, so I had a quick look. There's like 4 there, right, excuse me, that one. Now we're going this direction. You gotta be kidding me. And then that pile. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we're going to leave it at that. If I'm drawn to take one after, we will. Okay, so we start with the Lady of the Lake. Absolute truth, courage, self-respect, and responsibility. Exactly what we've been saying. If you want to be free in a system that is designed, you're born. This is another thing. You're born, you're issued a number. In different countries, a number is different. I was born in South Africa. You're issued with an identity number. It starts with your date of birth. Okay, so mine started with 711, bloody, 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 bloody. Okay, so it started with your date of birth, and then the different digits meant what race you were from, blah, blah, blah. In different countries, there's a different number, but you'll be issued a number. You'll also note that when you get official correspondence, your name is in capital letters, because that is telling you you are a corporation. Yes, you are a corporation that is on earth to pay tax, or you are a child of God on a planet that God created and gave to us. We are stewards. If you want to be free, living in heaven on earth, you have to take responsibility for yourself. You have to be a searcher of the truth. Don't take what you're hearing, even from me. Don't take it on face value. Go and have a look. Go and research some things. But you know, the truth is in you, just as the lie is in you. So when you hear the truth, it resonates with you. You go, okay, yeah. All right. So going forward, absolute responsibility for the truth of who we are, the truth of what we believe. Does it still fit with us? Just chuck it. Chuck it. Don't hoard it. Chuck it. It's about simplifying life now. Courage. Courage to stand up and be who you really are. Okay? If you're not a doctor, but you had to go do doctoring because everyone in the family was previously a doctor, and you don't want to be a doctor, you want to go and be a vet, or, write children's books, or go and volunteer in Africa, just go and do it. You can do it. I believe in you. We next have the Grail Knight, which is romance, illusion, and seeking the sacred. Okay, so this card is romance, so there will be some romance for some people. Some romance from the past may want to come back, but it's just illusion. It's an illusion. All right, so let's not be sucked into, new partnerships in illusion. All right. Ask yourself this. Is my life happy and complete without this individual in it? Yes. Then guess what? It's probably time for the individual, because your happiness is not dependent on having someone else there making up the bit of you that's missing. I hear that phrase, my other half, or the missing half. I'm like, what a ridiculous statement to make. What a ridiculous statement to make. It's not your other half. Okay, but that implies that you're only half. You're not half, you're whole. Otherwise you're broken. Then you are maybe half. Okay, so if you can do without it, but it's coming anyway, it's like the cherries or the sprinkles on the cupcake. A cupcake's lovely, but some people like sprinkles on the top. All right, well, without the sprinkles, the cupcake's still lovely. This is how you need to look at it. So, if the old ones are returning, ask yourself, because the next card is a deception card. Yes? All right, so whenever this Venus thing happens, then we have a tendency for the past romances to want to reappear. Okay, but let's search through the illusion and get to the heart of the matter. Remember, actions speak louder than words. Remember, women fall in love with what they hear. Okay, women fall in love with what they hear. So some people will tell you whatever you want to hear to keep you on board, to keep you on side. Okay, in their trap of illusion and delusion, taking your free will away from you because they're not telling you the truth of the situation. Yes? Okay, so ladies, let's be very acutely aware of that, because we've got the deception card. Deception is deception, whichever way you look at it. But now sometimes, like here's an example. Say it is your birthday, or there's some memorable event, an anniversary, or something memorable. So some people may be trying to plan something nice for you, but they want it to be a surprise. So they're keeping things from you because they want it to be a surprise. Okay, so they're working behind the scenes to get together to make this nice surprise for you. So that is also what this deception can mean. Not always nasty, okay? So some of us are in for some surprises. People are working behind the scenes. What's most important is that whatever deception is happening will bring wisdom, deception and wisdom, because once the deception is revealed, you are wise to it. That's why it's the owls there. Wise old owl. Yes? So once the deception has been unearthed, it has come to light, then you are wiser for having been through that experience. Lovely. The next card we have is the frog, which is about cleaning, house cleaning, physically clean your space. Get rid of the clutter. Simplify. Simplify. Also, releasing of emotional baggage goes hand in hand with the wounded ego. This is when the folks whose egos are wounded, now instead of coming like a rational human with a humility to say, listen, I made a mistake, okay, and as soon as I possibly can, I shall rectify it. No, 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 no. They come with preening, peacock feather, tails, preening. The wounded human ego. All right, so when then potential previous partners want to reappear with all the illusion and delusion, but because you've done your work, ladies, you have balanced your inner masculine and your feminine, so you're not looking for an external man to fill that void inside of you. You have filled it with divine masculine. So you're a cupcake now. Girl, you are a cupcake. Okay? But someone comes along and says, I want to be your sprinkle. And you go, let me see your shine. Okay? You can decide what sprinkle you want in your cupcake. Because without the sprinkle, your cupcake is still fine. Okay, so if you are the recipient of someone's emotional deluge, you can then decide, am I listening to hear or am I listening to respond? Okay, because the very next one we have is communication, which we've discussed at length already. It is about what you say. Excuse me, it is not about what you say sometimes, it is about how you say it. If you're speaking truth, fine, but it's how you say it. And sometimes silence is a marvelous response. Have you heard the saying, the deafening sound of silence? We then have fear. Now, this card is telling me that all of this, that these cards that came before, is ultimately dealing with fear. Because if we can deal with fear, we can replace it with joy, which is what this video is going to be called. Now, over the next while, we may all be faced with our deepest, darkest fears. All right? Now, your fear is essentially in your mind. So we have to go within and confront those fears. Have the courage, the self-respect to go inside and confront your own fears. So when others in the world try to push their fear on you, you're like, bye-bye. You can't get a good girl down. We're going to close with one more. Two more. Oh. Here we go. There's a day cannot come when this table goes over. All right, so the ones that fell under 4, the High Priestess, which is about using discernment. Yes, we spoke about that already. Discernment, prophecy and vision. Okay, so whenever we have any movements, anything relative to Pisces, you can expect it to get quite a little bit weirdy out there. So High Priestess energy, this is saying use your discernment, walking between the worlds, okay? Your inner guidance mechanisms. Discernment is very important because, and this is personally and on the collective, let's be very discerning now going forward. Let's hold people accountable to the truth. Let's hold them accountable for what they say. You want to say this, you better back it up. Let us make people accountable, but you cannot do that unless you are already prepared to be in that position yourself. High Priestess energy, prophecy, visions. Pay attention to your dreams, your visions, the synchronicities happening around you. Okay? This is about your inner priestess, ladies. This is who you really are. And then we'll finish with the Bard. The Bard is about music, poetry, history, the enchantment of storytelling. Go back into your history. That's to do with your Chiron. Where did it all go a bit pear-shaped? Go right there. Go look it straight in the face. Maybe you have to write a letter. Maybe you have to have a conversation. It is not about necessarily what you say, as long as it is in truth, and it is the truth. It is about how you say it. How are you communicating? But most importantly, how are you communicating with yourself? Do you like yourself? Who are you? Father, bless us. Teach us the truth, no matter the cost. Show us the truth, no matter the cost. Namaste, everybody. Peace be with you.